All right, one of the things that I've been challenging myself to do with agents in Copilot Studio is how do we create a better overall customer experience? Now, a lot of the way we have constructed agents to date goes back to the old days of Power Virtual Agent, where we would craft these turn-by-turn conversations between the bot and the end user, and we did that simply out of necessity. Our bots were composed of topics, and we had to create these turn-by-turn experiences where we would ask questions and compile the answers as variables before we would go off and run automations or answer questions or things like that. So for example, here in my outdoor activities agent, if I prompt this agent and I say, help me find outdoor activities that are in my budget, what it's going to do is it's going to start asking me questions, and we're going to go through this turn-by-turn experience. So it's going to get into the topic, and it's going to say, great, what type of activities are you interested in? I like reading, swimming, and playing sports. Cool. All right, next question. What is your budget? My budget is $500. And so now we're going through this turn-by-turn conversation, and it's going to go away and use these answers to then go and do stuff on my behalf. Now, this is the way we've traditionally created agents. But what if we didn't have to do that? What if I could just go bah to the agent with all the things that I want, and it could go and figure this out and parse it out and go do something for me? Well, I've done exactly that. So I've got a copy of my agent here, and I am using a prompt. Now, prompts are really cool because we can embed them in our agent to do specific tasks. Now, I struggled to get my head around when and why you would do this at times because, well, I mean, the agent already has an LLM at its core, so why would I add additional LLM steps to my agent? Well, let me give you a great example of when you would want to do that. Let's say I don't want to go through this turn-by-turn conversation with the user. All I want to do is have the user input everything they want. Again, highly technical term, go blah, and then figure out what it is that the user is asking me to do. So if I come over here to my tools, let's take a look at my prompt. So I've got a prompt here, and it is simply going to return a JSON object to us with the interest that the user has input and their budget. Now, I am going to use a JSON object, JSON array, because they might put in more than one. They might say, I like to fish, I like to swim, I like to play sports. And so this gives me a bit of flexibility. So let's go ahead and give this a try. Let me just quickly copy my prompt here. Start a new test session. Now, I haven't built an end-to-end test here. I'm having some issues with getting to Dataverse with the JSON array. JSON and I are not always the best of friends. So I've gone and I've simply input everything I want into the agent. It's running the prompt, and it's going to respond with what it came up with, right? So it's broken this prompt here into a structured JSON object that I can now go and use to run in an agent flow or work with an MCP server or something like that. And so this makes it really easy to go and take everything from the user. Now, some of the scenarios you might want to deploy this in is, let's say you're building an agent for internal purposes and you want to deploy it to something like M365 and you don't want to go through that turn by turn because people are busy, you want them to be productive. You can use a prompt to take their input and start parsing it out into variables that you will then go to call in an agent flow or use an MCP or something like that. So really simple concept, really simple demo of how I'm using prompts to enhance the overall end user experience in my interactive agents in Copilot Studio. All right, that's it from me. Go do something awesome on the Power Platform today, and I'll talk to you soon.